We all love comparisons, right? Is it Jordan or is it Kobe? Is it LeBron or is it Kobe? What about Magic versus Bird? Who you got? Well, I'm gonna have a comparison for today. What's the best way to build your empire, your life? Do we build or hustle to the top of the corporate ladder? Do we hustle in the streets and run that marathon? Or is it the way of the weak Christian? We call it building a kingdom. Let's talk about it. This is your next episode of Rich and Rulers, the Sit Down. Let's get it. Welcome back to Rich and Rulers, the Sit Down. I'm your host, Josh, J.Original Chambers, and I want to again thank you guys for rocking with Rich and Ruler as we again continually are looking to build or esteem excellence, crush those stereotypes, and again create hot fly clothing for men of God out there, those who again love to worship God, but also love to make an impact and be those leaders in the community. And so again, we're esteeming excellence. And so today we're talking about building your empire, or like I say, building your life. And that's what we're talking about. Reaching that full potential in your life to where, again, you have the greatest influence possible. Your health is amazing. Health is strengthened. Your wealth is where it needs to be. You have enough resources for now and even for the future. And so there's multiple ways, people go about living their lives. And again, that's their choice. I know one of my favorite scriptures talks about how God cannot be mocked. A man will reap what he sows. And so I've done that in my life. I've reaped some negative harvests. I've reaped some positive harvests. But again, I thank God for bringing me through. And so before we started, we talked about, different methods of, building your empire, reaching your full potential in life. And like I said earlier, many choose to do it the way they choose. And so I mentioned, do you hustle to the top of the corporate ladder? Do you, again, even maybe, want to hustle in the streets and like I said, run that marathon of that street hustle. And oftentimes you guys know what that looks like. Or we can say versus, I called it earlier, living that weak. Do we do it the way of the weak Christian? Like I said, we call it the way of building the kingdom. So why did I say that? Why did I say the way of the weak Christian? Because I guess you say for some people who don't know, they oftentimes look at living the life as a believer as being one that's weak, being one that's whitewashed, or being one that has no backbone, has no power. And unfortunately, oftentimes the reason why people may think that is because they may have experienced someone who lived without power, or who lived without firmness or boldness, or even one who's talked match their walk. And so to some people, Christendom or living as a man of God looks weak. And so just a little play on words for me. God says he takes the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. So I thought it necessary maybe to let's trump that stereotype. There's nothing weak at all about being a believer, nothing weak at all about being a man of God. Quite frankly, it takes a responsible man to recognize when he's weak. And not only that, the word actually says that when we can recognize we're weak, God, who created us, can be strong. I mean, how can you do something for someone that says, I got it? And oftentimes as humans, we do that. We let God know, we got it. And so God sits back and, he does nothing, because we got it, right? We're humans. But that man of God, again, like I said, to some folks, that weak Christian, we got so much going for us. We got all of heaven pushing on our side. But what happens when you decide not to become that man of God? What happens when you want to live your life with your own ingenuity or your own power and your own strength. I mean, just look around us. People have hysteria about a virus. We've had viruses before, but because the media pushes its agendas, and yes, people have passed, but again, they overblown and puff this idea of death up in people's minds, and people just they lose hope. So men, actually are very weak in a sense, because again, we can't control life, we can't control death. We have no answers or all the answers for the future. All we know is what we can do right now. And so you build that life hustling. You build that life, trying to reach that corporate ladder, and you're not thinking about God, but you're thinking about what you can do, again, to glorify yourself, or to live that life that makes you look great, or live that life again that builds your name and causes your name to be great. So we do that as humans. We try to reach that corporate ladder. We try to, again, some of us try to hustle in the streets, doing things illegally so that we can find influence, so we can, again, find value in our lives. But we do it without God. And so the unfortunate thing is, like one of my favorite stories in the scriptures, where a man was building his barns, and God spoke to him and said, look, you building all these barns, again, building your kingdom, making your name great. You're not even thinking of me. But God said to him, you building all these barns, but don't you know that your life, your soul is going to be required of you tonight? And so it just reminds me of some celebrities and some of those who are on Instagram and Facebook, and some celebrities, again, like I said, that influence individuals in the world. They're building their empire. They're making that money. They have great influence. But again, they're doing it without God. And we see many examples how their lives get cut short. They live lives that are well below the standards of God, and again, they just live a life of hopelessness with all that money. They kill themselves, or they find themselves in a place of despair. That's because God has not intended us as men or women to live a life without Him. We were created to have relationship, not only with human beings, but also with Him. That our lives, again, may glorify Him in all that we do. Our talents and gifts may glorify Him glorify Him in what we do. And so I want to encourage you, even as I leave you with these scriptures, that if you had to compare, there's nothing greater than living as a man of God. I have much respect for all men, much love, for all men. But I really respect men of God who says, you know what, I'm weak. I recognize my sins and I need help. I need the one who created me. And so I get on my knee. I surrender, Lord. That man of God is the rulers. That's who really I look up to. It's amazing. Again, when I see a man of God raising his family, when I see a man of God running his businesses, when I see a man of God preaching in the pulpit, talking that talk, but also living it, that's impressive. I'm really not too impressed with a lot of individuals in the world who haven't surrendered their lives with the Lord, for the Lord yet. So there's, again, some of us may think, living as a believer is weak, but nah, it ain't weak. It's super strong, because we got God on our side. The unbeliever, or even those who want to, again, hustle to the top of the corporate ladder without God, or hustle in the streets, they just one sin away from their life being torn apart. And so I want to encourage you with a couple of scriptures before I leave, or even just one, or maybe I give you two. Proverbs 16:3. Proverbs 16:3. We're going to look at that. And let me grab it for you real quick. Hold on tight. I know you're trying to get out of here. Proverbs 16:3. It says this: commit to the Lord whatever you do. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. I think that goes so hard right now. I think that's all I need to leave you with. Commit to the Lord whatever you do. I don't know who I'm speaking to, but when I'm speaking to the ruler tribe, I'm speaking to those who even if it's your first time seeing me, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. That word establish, I was telling my brother the other night, and I'll pull it up for you. That word establish means this. It means to set it up and make it permanent, unmovable. Hey, the man of God, we unmovable. Those following Christ, the ruler tribe, we unmovable. When we commit what we do to the Lord, can't nothing stop us. Hustling in the streets, trying to build your big bag, trying to build your empire, that's not established. Only in your mind, and it's gonna fall. But again, the rulers, we know better. We commit what we do to the Lord, and he establishes it. And so I'm gonna get on out of here. I appreciate you again rocking with Rich and Ruler, but also to sit down. Hey, tell somebody about it. Subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification, because every time we post it, you'll get it. We just want to esteem excellence. And again, big shout out to the Baltimore Black Sox. Do your research on them. Great baseball team from years past. I mean, again, that's another thing we like to esteem. Those who've been marginalized. And so keep it a great work. Remember, commit whatever you what you want to do in your life to the Lord, and he's going to establish it. And as always, you are destined to rule. Peace.